So we're in Santa Barbara, decided to take this 7 Ridge, I think it's called, hike today. And so the way things are starting out so far... Tense because getting here, the navigation is kind of wonky. I was having trouble getting the directions to the trailhead in the regular GPS program that we use. Roads up here, windy. Got to really pay attention to your directions if you're not from the area, especially. And then as we're getting close to where the trailhead is supposed to be, we had no idea this hike was going to be as popular as it is. There's cars just... So you've got a 2-lane road here. It's kind of tight. You might be able to see it in the background. I don't know. But, you know, parking is all along the side. I think there's a parking lot close to the trailhead, but it's obviously packed. And then what you're left with is parking along the side of the road. And so we're going to have a hike to even get to the beginning of the proper hike. So we had to turn around and drive down the hill a bit to find a part of the side of the road where we could park the truck. So we did that, and next stop we're gonna try to find the trailhead. So if you do park on the side of the road, you may want to be careful of break-ins to the car, because we got evidence of that right here. Where are we going?
Tunnel trail, and 4.5 miles, I assume miles, is Camino Cielo Road. That way.
Yep. So straight on we go. It took us about 20 minutes to get to the beginning of the trailhead from where we parked our car. So we will have, on this hike, 40 minutes of it just getting to and from our car to the trailhead and back. But we're here. And it's time to hike. Time to hike.
Time to hike. You see the ocean. Look at that. Look how beautiful.
All right, so we've been walking about a half hour or so, and mostly, or exclusively actually, on a paved path. But anyways, now we've approached a, it looks like a fork in the road, but the signs point to a direction to the left. Yeah, we're hoping, and somebody told us that at some point the path here changes from what's been asphalt to what we more expect and are used to in terms of actual hiking trails. And the other thing I've noticed so far is we're out here we've got a full backpack with waters, lunch, snacks, because that's the way we do this. But it seems like most of the people that we've passed so far are just walking. I'm not even seeing people with water, but I mean, we were expecting to be out here several hours, so we are prepared with food and liquid. I think that's the way you should do it. So, unless you're familiar with the place and you know you're only going to be here like a half hour, 40 minutes or so.
I don't, half hour or not, you should have water.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen.
So on we go. Yeah. All right, so we came to a fork in the road, and now we are finally off of the asphalt and on a proper hiking trail. Some nice shade in this area.
And we eventually got to a creek area, and that creek area is kind of the turnoff to get to the Seven Falls area, the Seven Falls, which is actually a waterfall. Mm-hmm. And it's not marked.
Yeah,
and we didn't know that that was the area that you were supposed to turn up the creek.
Yeah, so if one knows where they're going, you would turn right at the creek, a hard right. Yeah, but we just ended up following what seemed to be the trail, which led somewhere else.
But ended up in a very beautiful spot called Inspiration Point.
So we are at Inspiration Point on the trail. It's very natty, which overlooks this amazing site of Santa Barbara.
I gotta imagine the video isn't gonna do the view quite the justice.
It's gorgeous.
But it's spectacular view of the ocean, the city, and the Channel Islands in the distance. So I think it took us about an hour and a half to get to this point from where we parked our car.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Lots of gnats.
lots of gnats here and close to lunchtime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the airport.
We're eating gnats. Or they're going up our nose. Yes. Up your nose. Yes.
it does get pretty crowded here. A lot of people. We're here on a Sunday.
Yeah. But it's gorgeous. And we were trying to identify the islands. We saw 4 that we think are islands.
Anacapa.
Santa Barbara.
Uh-huh.
I think Santa Barbara's the closest.
I don't know.
I think. I'm not sure.
And I think Santa Rosa
Santa Rosa.
is also one of the close ones.
So we got to the end of the trail and we got to Inspiration Point.
Were you inspired?
I was. It was beautiful. You could see the whole expanse of the ocean. You could see the islands, some of the islands. It was gorgeous.
All right, so I think because of the gnats, we'll leave this area.
Went in a better place for lunch without the gnats.
Yeah.
Tons of gnats.
Well, here we're okay, but
Yeah, but there's this whole Inspiration lookout.
nowhere to really sit down.
Yeah. All right, so leaving Inspiration Point, we thought we would take a different trail. We headed off to the left, and we found ourselves in this area with these huge power poles.
Yep.
It looked like it might connect to the place from whence we came, but we seem to be in no man's land.
Yeah, it ends. It just completely ends.
So the good news is we didn't travel too far to find out that this path wasn't going to work, but I guess if you're up here, recommendation would be don't hike toward the power poles,
lines.
which I guess in general, I wouldn't be a fan of walking near those anyways. So we're going to head back and trace back the way as which we came from. So here we go.
And we had packed a small lunch. So we came back and started walking down the back on the trail and we stopped.
We stopped at the creek.
Yes.
Yes. We stopped at the creek. We found a spot where there was no people.
That's when we found out that's where the split was too.
Yeah, but we sat down, started to eat our lunch, and then before you know it, people are trying to make their way past us up this hill that wasn't marked to anything. And I think after a couple of people did this, we asked them, where are you going? And they said, Seven Falls.
To the waterfall.
Yeah.
People were coming down and saying there's supposed to be 7 waterfalls, but there's only trickles. So it depends on when you go too. I think there's more water at certain seasons than there is at others.
Well, you have to come up here. So we have hummus. There's some bread for you. And we'll start with that. This time I brought utensils.
Oh,
I
okay.
always forget that.
All right, hummus and bread for lunch. And we always have the handy dandy Cliff Bars for a snack.
We didn't know what we were going to see. I assumed it was going to be something looking out over the ocean. So it was about 3 hours. It was very enjoyable. I would rate it as a moderate hike.
I agree.
So if you have any difficulty at all, you might want to consider this has some areas where it can be a little bit rocky. You're crossing a dry riverbed or a creek bed. That gets rocky. It's not terrible, but it's a little bit uphill. I saw some people struggling, so I would call it moderate. It was a very pleasant hike. I really, really enjoyed it. It wasn't too hot for us, and even though there was, several people on the trail, everybody was courteous, and everybody would move out of the way if you're passing one another, or if somebody's coming behind you and they wanted to get in front of you. So everybody was super courteous, and it was really pleasant.